So what's going on, guys? My name's Chopper and welcome everybody to today's video. Ladies and gentlemen, what we've got is going to be the top 10 worst ways to die in PUBG, and these can range from like pretty common ones that you'll probably see at least once a game, and then range to pretty rare ones that may only happen maybe 1 in 100 games. Now, something to keep in mind is that this list was made in part by myself and also the PUBG community, just the players of the game that are in my Discord server, which you guys haven't already joined. Links in the description if you want to go and be part of that as well. That will be the place where you guys will get feedback if I need help on a video and everything like that. And as always, if this is something that you guys enjoy and would like to see more of, then be sure to leave a like rating. We're going to aim for 2,000 likes as the goal in this video, and I know you guys could destroy that. And if you guys are not currently a subscriber on this channel and this is your first time being here, I want to welcome you and thank you so much for clicking on the video, and make sure to subscribe and stick around for more stuff just like this as we are on our way to the goal of 250,000 subscribers. And a way to make this video a bit more fun for you guys is if you follow along and let me know in the comments how many of these you have died by on a scale of 1 to 10. Maybe you've died by all 10, maybe none at all. Either way, follow along and let me know your feedback on that too. But anyways, my friends, all of that stuff out of the way, let's go ahead and get started on the 10 worst ways to die in PUBG. So guys, coming in today at the number 10 spot is a pretty common way to die, and it doesn't take away from the fact that it is pretty embarrassing when you do it. However, it's a fairly common mistake to make, and this is going to be accidentally nading yourself. So the way that this most typically happens is with a frag grenade. Either you're trying to throw it into a window and it hits a weird angle, or you toss it down a hill and it takes a bad bounce and really comes back end up to backfire on you. It happens probably more often than you realize, and the thing is, it's an easy mistake to make. And it's not just with frag grenades, like I said. You can make dumb plays with a stun and it blows up too quickly, and then you end up, losing the fight because of that, or you try to throw a Molotov down the stairs and it catches a corner and it lights you on fire instead. This has happened to all of us, I think, and it doesn't take away from the fact that it is an awful way to die in this game and you just feel so stupid after. But yeah, at the end of the day, nading yourself, not fun. Okay, so coming in today at the number 9 spot, I think out of everything on this list, this has to be the most common, but it also maybe is the most frustrating when it happens because it is so common. And this, of course, lads, has to be not finding a weapon when you hit the ground. And this can last for quite a long time. Sometimes you hit the ground and you can get to maybe 2 or 3 buildings before you're caught out in the open and other people have weapons and are looking for you. You can survive for a pretty long time. However, you don't have any utility to fight back if you don't find a weapon. And sometimes that's just how the RNG works out. But here's the thing, right? This is a problem that's not strictly related to PUBG. This is the curse of every Battle Royale game that exists, as every BR that's popular right now has random generated loot, which is commonly referred to as RNG. But the loot is basically random, so if you have a lot of time played or if you have many hours, it's just simple mathematics that some of those games have to have poor or no loot, and that's just the way of the game. And so it can be really frustrating when you land at a house and then an enemy lands at the house across the street, and then you come out with like a P92 and a level 1 vest and that's all, and they've got the M416 and like a level 3 vest. Sometimes that's how it is, and but also what you have to understand is sometimes you take advantage of that RNG without really thinking about it. Here's an interesting idea: is a battle royale that didn't have random loot and everything was at a set spawn. I don't think that battle royale would be fun at all, because think about it, right? A BR game without random loot would become stale unbelievably quickly, as everybody knows exactly where to go and every match would play out almost identical. That's why I don't think Battle Royale as a genre is a very good esport in my opinion, but it's the most popular thing right now, so they try to balance it as best they possibly can for those events. But yeah, that was just a long-winded way of saying finding no gun when you land sucks. Alright, now coming in at number 8 is going to be the red zone. Now, this was originally intended in PUBG, I think, to be something much different. I think this was meant to have players who were camping in a zone, maybe in a power position, to force them to move around a little bit and change position. However, the red zone is still in the game, but players have changed so much how the game works now that I don't think the red zone serves its original purpose very well and is more of an annoyance than anything these days. The red zone isn't that hard to avoid when you see it like spawn on you, because you have quite a bit of time to either hit some cover, maybe find some shelter, or just get out of that area in particular. However, if you're pinned down in a gunfight, or even worse, right? This is the worst case scenario. If you're in the blue and maybe it's, I don't know, second or third zone, and then red zone hits and you still can't leave, like that's the most frustrating thing in the world. But you'd be lying if you said you never died to the red zone, either just charging right through because you think you can make a ballsy play with a vehicle and going straight through the middle and just hoping not to die, or even being on the edge, because the edge of the red zone is generally generally safe even if you're in it, quote unquote, and sometimes, very rarely, sometimes you can still die on that edge, and I've done that like multiple times. I think the red zone is one of the few things about PUBG's gameplay that I would probably tweak. It could do with a little updating, I think, and I'm not super bothered about it if it doesn't, but it's just one of those things that I could see improving in the future. Moving on, and coming in at number 7, it's the one you hate to see. It's fall damage. Now, I'm specifically talking about falling out of a building or falling too far off a cliff when you're still healing, or something along those lines where it's something that could have easily been avoided. At least for me, the most common way that I make this mistake is when I'm climbing a tall, steep mountain, say on like Miramar or Sanok or something, and I'm trying to make a really creative play, and then you hit a spot on the mountain that's a little bit slippery, you're not supposed to walk on, and it just throws you all the way down to the base of the mountain. Absolutely terrible way to go out, man. What can I say? But we've all done it. All right, guys, coming in at number 6 is a pretty interesting and also rare one, and it really only tends to happen when you're playing with squads and sometimes in duos, but it also has to be against people that know what they're doing and I would say are decently good players, and this is setting up a bridge block. So you're all familiar with the term bridge camping, you know what it is, and you've probably done it yourself before, but bridge blocking is taking bridge camping just to the next level, essentially. Just making it a little sweatier, you know? So to properly set up a bridge block, you need to not only bridge camp, but you need to have enough vehicles where you can set a sort of horizontal barricade across some path in the bridge, and when you do this properly, it makes it almost impossible for anybody to break through that barricade, even when they're charging with a vehicle, and you can shoot at them and blow them up. So, and especially when they get in far too deep in the bridge, it's pretty much over. And the thing is, when you turn this around on people, it's really easy to get free kills, but when somebody is doing this on you, it's basically game over. Depending on where the circle is and how many people are going to cross the bridge at that time, if you're running a bridge block, like at the end of the day when you have to leave, it can just become a complete graveyard of vehicles. It can be a ton of fun too. So guys, if you've never tried bridge blocking before, go grab your squad. It does take a little coordination and practice, but go give this a try and I think you'll enjoy it. Coming in at number 5 is another really frustrating one. However, I think most players grow out of this way of dying, and this is going to be getting run over by a vehicle. Now, this tends to only happen when a player is very new to the game and you're unfamiliar with like positioning and what you should do in that situation when a vehicle arises and is charging at you. However, even some experienced players from time to time can slip up, make a mistake, and get hit by a vehicle. It's just, that's how the game goes as well. I'd say if you find yourself dying by this like way a lot, I would work on positioning a little bit more and figuring out how to avoid these vehicles, as it's not that hard. You just need to know what you're doing and the, like, I guess, destination of that vehicle. All right, so number 4, this is where we start to get to some of the more uncommon ones, but it doesn't make them any less like annoying when they happen. And number 4 has to be getting flashbang. Typically, players that are newer to the game or maybe have just started, don't have a lot of experience, don't use flashbangs quite a bit because it isn't entirely clear on where these are effective and how they should use them. What this means is that they're not just getting spammed anywhere, and not getting blasted every second with somebody else throwing a stun. I think that's a great thing, but an experienced player who knows how to use stuns and exactly the timing of them can be very dangerous when they have them equipped. If you execute it just perfectly, you can guarantee win a gunfight on your opponent no matter how good they are. But see, that's the trick, is actually executing it with the flashbang, which is way easier said than done. But when it happens to you, either it's a lucky shot or they are actually a legitimately good player, it's still pretty annoying to know that there's really nothing you can do in that situation. Now, getting into our top 3, ladies and gentlemen, is a kind of a two-parter, and I think that this one is more common for the second than the first, and this is going to be either drowning or getting shot while you're swimming and in the water. It's fairly easy not to drown, and I think you have to voluntarily go out of your way to make that happen. It's pretty easy to stay afloat and swim in this game. However, it is also easy is that if you get caught in the water, there is nothing you can do. And I mean like absolutely nothing. You can possibly try to swim even lower so that they cannot hit you and maybe come up somewhere else where you can actually get your gun out. But if you're in the water and you're out in the open, you can't go any deeper, then you might as well just go ahead and back out of the game. Just go ahead and wrap that bad boy up. It's a GG. And that's the sole reason why I recommend swimming as, or just using water as transportation as a last resort if you have to in a game. But either way, I've definitely had my fair share of water deaths, and I'm sure you guys have as well. So fellas, coming in today at the number 2 spot, I'm going to be the first one to put my hands up and say, I've done this way more times than I'd like to admit. I've done it on stream. I've done it while recording. I've literally done it so many times at this point that I want them to write on my gravestone, he probably fell out of his vehicle. I mean, let's be honest, guys. This is really the only way that I ever die in this game. right? But anyways, moving on and coming in today, guys, at the #1 spot of the worst way to die, in my opinion, in PUBG is going to be none other than failing the parachute. And this is the situation where you're landing and your parachute either clips a tree or some weird and like obscure object or corner, and it rips off like in midair and you fall all the way to your death. This used to happen way more often back in the day of PUBG when it was still early and the parachute system was way different. It's improved dramatically since those days, but it still does happen every now and again. You'll catch PUBG slipping. And I really think this has to be the worst way to die in PUBG due to the fact that you're dead before you even hit the ground. Like the game is already over before it got started for you know what I'm saying? But I want to make it very clear what I said earlier. This rarely happens anymore, and I'm not really sure about every other platform, like what their issue is with parachuting. If it's kind of the same deal around here, I assume it's all pretty much the same, and it doesn't, you know, it's a pretty uncommon experience. But when it does happen, man, like that's the easiest way just to turn off PUBG and go play like Stardew Valley or something. I gotta be honest, guys, like I don't really rage at video games hardly ever, but when that happens to me, I turn into a different person. It's crazy, dude. I just turn into a monster. But I want to know what you guys think about this list. If you've died by all of these, or maybe none of these, or just a couple of them, let me know in the comment section down below. And also let me know what your opinion is on the worst way to die in PUBG, because maybe there's one that I completely didn't think of that maybe should have been on this list and it just slipped my mind. So either way, if that's something you guys want to contribute to more, then my Discord, as I said earlier, is in the description. And also, one more thing before you guys go, make sure you go ahead and subscribe to my second channel where I'm doing streams and just additional content over there. I would really appreciate that. The support already has been wild, and I plan to keep up exactly what I'm doing there and just keep improving. So all I ask is for you guys to go check it out, maybe support that if you like me as a person and like my content. That would mean the world. But anyways, guys, thank you very much for watching. Make sure to drop a like before you go. Subscribe if you're brand new around here, and I'll see you all on the next stream or the next video. Take it easy, guys, and peace out.